On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're visiting the Nashville home of interior designer Catherine Branstetter. Catherine lives in an English Tudor cottage that's over a century old and is located in a historic part of the city. Filled with treasures from her travels, traditional touches, as well as pops of color, Catherine and her family have truly made this home their own. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hey Homeworthy, I'm Catherine. Welcome to my home here in Nashville. I'd love to show you around. Hi, I'm Catherine Branstetter. I'm an interior designer here in Nashville, Tennessee. So our home is in the Belmead Links neighborhood. It's a really sweet little section of kind of the Belmead area in Nashville. It's in a historic overlay, so all of the homes here follow certain regulations to maintain the integrity of the neighborhood. So we bought this house in 2019. It's an English Tudor cottage is how I describe it. It was built in the 20s, so has lots of great character and old house quirks, but you know, I love old houses and it had great bones when we saw it. And actually we bought it without seeing it. We came up for the inspection, but we were living in Atlanta at the time. And I had told my husband I'd been kind of eyeing some properties and they were going really quick. I think Nashville was just really starting to get crazy real estate wise. And I was like, okay, the next house that comes up and I say, I think we should jump on it, we should jump on it. And I was getting my nails done and I was sitting there scrolling, and after about 10 minutes I texted him and was like, okay, I think this is the one. We need to act on this. And so we made an offer sight unseen, and it was accepted, and we came up for the inspection, and it definitely needed some work, a little love, but I knew it had great potential, and we've really made it ours. Welcome to our living room. This is the first room you walk into when you enter our house. It's one of my favorite rooms. We painted everything white dove when we moved in. I think it's a good kind of portrayal of my style, not too traditional, but also not modern. It's just kind of collected, and it's always hard to put your design style into words, but I feel like mine is collected and really just things that I love. So the bird prints are the Rudbeck Swedish bird prints. That was something that I had my eyes on when we used to live in Atlanta. There was a dealer at Scott's Antique Market that would sell them, and that was one of the first things I bought when we bought this house. Was I had this vision of having birds in this room, and clearly I love birds because I always find things like birdhouses and little birds I'll show you, you'll probably notice throughout the house. This birdhouse came from one of my favorite antique shops in Charleston, Antiques of South Windermere. Got it on the way back from a trip to Kiowa, and we were driving stuffed car, and I literally had the birdhouse in my lap for the rest of the ride home. The pine chest also came from that shop. These zebra chairs were something that I'd also had my eyes on. They're from Lee Industries, but I think they're really fun. So this cute little green table is from a local shop, Reed Smythe, and I think it's the perfect little addition to this room with the jasper pillows and just a little pop of color that it needed. So our coffee table is Serena and Lily. You've probably seen it, but I just always love incorporating natural elements into my design. So grass cloth, rattan, I mean, clearly I have a lot of it, maybe too much, but I think, you know, if you love something, you just kind of go with it. I just put some of my favorite coffee table books on it. So these sweet little pottery houses came from Signature Gallery in Atlanta. They were a wedding gift from my old bosses, Carter Kay and Nancy Huff, and they are just really special to me. I worked there for almost 6 years and learned honestly so much from the both of them. So I love having a little piece of them in our room. This mirror is just a cool piece. It's kind of smoky, and I think it just adds another layer. It gives some dimension to the room, and it's kind of cool to see when you walk in. And now we're gonna go to my sunroom, so follow me. Welcome to our sunroom. I love this room. The windows were definitely one of the selling points for me on the house. They're original. We lined it with Philip Jeffries grass cloth. It has just slight blue kind of background color. It gets great sun. It's happy. I love, coming in here and I would say read a book, but it's more like drink a glass of wine, let the kids play. Normally there's some toys scattered throughout, but yeah, it's a great room, and it's a home to kind of my blue and white, which I don't do a ton of, but I have a collection of ginger jars and things like that. So this is where they made their home, and they're on this really beautiful antique tavern table that came from my grandparents. My parents were very sweet and let us have it because they said we had the perfect spot for it. It's a special piece, and the seltzer bottle lamp is also really cool. This was another family heirloom, and I just think it's really pretty in here. Here's yet another bird that seems to find their way around the house. So over here, just a sweet little corner, got some of our wedding photos, some pottery we picked up in the Algarve, Portugal. The paintings by a local artist, Casey Hughes. And then over here, I have a couple of the little faces that Sally King Benedict does, and I love her work. So just a sweet little spot for those. A tile that we picked up in Spain. Just kind of home to some of my little treasures, and yeah, we just love spending time in here. So here we are in our dining room. This is right off the living room, the front of the house, and it's kind of our moody, dark blue-green room. It's Farrow in Craya. I love this room. It's a nice kind of break from the white dove that's adjacent. I love, obviously, my bamboo rattan obsession. I think eventually we'll get more of a formal kind of dining table and chairs. We've kind of outgrown this one, but it's served its purpose, and I picked it up at Scott's in Atlanta. Well, actually, we had sold it to a client when I worked for Carter. We'd sold it to Sally King Benedict, and then she decided to go with something else, and I was like, well, wait, can I buy it back from you? Because I wanted it for myself. But so it found its way back to me, and put some fun Clarence House animal print on the seat cushions, and added drapery in this really pretty Pierre Frey fabric that I love. I have a thing for ochre, and we love hosting dinners here. We've hosted our families here for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I love the details in here. This little arched opening when you walk in, there's a sweet little detail that is original to the house. And then I put this big lantern in from Visual Comfort that I feel like it fits my style. It's not too formal in here, and I like the white against the teal walls. And this piece my parents gifted us for Christmas a couple years ago, the artist Stuart McDonald. I think she just creates some really fun abstract pieces, and I love the colors and patterns that she uses. And this piece came from a antiques place in Atlanta when we used to live there. And you can see in this room I painted the walls and the trim the same color, which I like to do in certain spaces. I think it makes sense and just makes it feel really warm and cozy and kind of moody, and it just felt right for this space. On the way to the bathroom, I thought I would show you our hallway. It's the central part of the house. We lined the walls in this Santa Barbara iCat wallpaper from Schumacher, and I love how it turned out. I used it as the backdrop for a lot of my framed artwork in black frames, and I think it just makes them really pop. I love the wallpaper in here. I think it breaks up just some of the white throughout the house, and love incorporating some pattern, and I love stripes. This is a fun kind of gallery wall that you can see when you walk in the front door, actually. So it's fun to just kind of peer through and see some of these pieces. I picked up the little starburst at the Antiques Market in Paris for an anniversary trip. That was sort of my one thing I could fit in my luggage home. And then I've gotten a couple of these little museum bees that I think are really fun. The runner is an antique piece, and it came from a dealer in Atlanta I used to pick up Ushaks from, and yeah, I like the little pop of color in here, and I also love this little antique cobbler's bench. So welcome to our hall bath. This is actually a full bath. It has a tub, but it functions as our powder room. And lately we've been bathing both of the kids down here because it's a little bit bigger tub, and they like bathing together. So we're spending more and more time in here. We painted the walls Fair & Ball color. I think it's green blue. Tried to kind of do this on a budget, kept the pedestal sink, because eventually we may end up putting the laundry room here because it is a big space, and moving the powder room. But for now, it's great. Just did a little basket weave tile on the floor, antique brass sink faucet that I love, unlacquered brass. The little shades are from Fermoy with some pooky sconces. And I picked up the wooden bamboo mirror from a local shop here, Canterbury Cottage. These frames I picked up at Gas Lamp Antiques here in Nashville for like $25 each, and then had one of my favorite artists, Renee Bouchon, commission some botanicals for me that I think are really fun with popping against the blue, tying in the colors from the rug. Oh, and then there's these funny little bottoms that are framed, and I think they're just kind of quirky and fun. So, and this is a sweet little hand towel that one of my best friends from college, Cleveland Crook, created. She just launched her own custom textiles and embroidery company called All the Feels, F-I-L-S. But she literally just took one of my paintings and hand designed this little print, and she's so talented and just whipped that up in a couple days. So I love it, and I think it's perfect in our little hall bathroom. Okay, so next I'm going to take you to our kitchen and our den. Welcome to our kitchen. I'll preface it and say I call it our Band-Aid kitchen because I get to work on really beautiful kitchens for clients, and I think, this isn't our forever, but it is a lot better than what it was when we moved in. There were linoleum countertops and these really, really old cabinets that had these like grip pulls at the top, but also hardware that looked kind of like little spirally things. Anyway, we were like, how can we do this very inexpensively? So we tore off the upper cabinets that did not go to the ceiling, put in open shelves, did a new backsplash, IKEA butcher block counters, and some lovely Lowe's cabinets. So just a way to, get us by, and I think it looks pretty good for what we spent on it. And a fun thing we did for my husband's birthday this year was got a bar cabinet, this really cool antique pine piece that is doubling as his bar. And he loves to make drinks, and it's kind of a hobby of his. So it was kind of a joke that it was a gift for him, but a gift for me too, because it's a lot prettier than what was here. And as you can tell, he likes to whip up some cocktails. But it's great. It came from this really cool place called Parson's Nose, and he gets everything from England, and I clearly love pine, but I just love that little detail at the top, and I think it's really a nice piece, and I love mixing antiques in when you can, and you don't have to have everything be built out. You can use antique pieces. So yeah, I love how it turned out in here. Okay, and now let's head into the den. So welcome to our den. This is the room we probably spend the most time in. It was also part of the renovation we did last year. We finished last summer and really made this room a lot happier. There used to be this really dated corner fireplace over here that I hated. And then there were no windows on this wall, which was kind of odd. And there were no built-ins, which was really important to us to get some storage and a place for our books and some family photos and things we've collected. We love just spreading out in here. An upholstered cocktail ottoman is very practical for families with young kids. Don't have to worry about sharp corners. I used this fun Jasper print on it because it really hides anything. Brown performance fabric that is just also hides everything. Formula, wine, all of the above gets spilled on it, and it just doesn't show a thing. So it is really nice to have a room where you're not worried about people just, spilling when friends come over. I like to, we like to have our guests feel comfortable and not worried like they're going to stain something. And I think this room feels that way. Nothing's too precious, but also it's, comfortable and bright and happy and just relaxed feeling. And I love how the built-ins turned out. It just was a big game changer in here. We painted them this Booth Bay gray color that is just like a pretty kind of blue gray. And then we also added this wall of sliding doors. It was just a smaller pair of French doors before, and this also just lets in a lot more light, which is great. This cute little spindle chair came from a local antique shop here, Patina, and I love little child's chairs, but Charlie loves sitting in it, and I just think it's super cute. Now I'll take you out to our new screen porch. Welcome to our screen porch. We, like I said, we finished this last summer and we've just loved having it. It was definitely one of those things that we both always wanted in our house. So we did these bluestone pavers and painted everything white, Swiss coffees, the color I used outside. Another thing, I guess, one of my sort of wants was a porch swing, and it's kind of everyone's favorite spot to sit, but it's just been, including Winnie, it's really fun just to sit out here and love having friends over and just eating dinner. And it's nice because we did these fans in the corners, but we also added this ceiling heater on the ceiling, and it is so we can use it year round, which has been wonderful. I feel like the bugs get pretty bad here in Nashville, so having screens is huge. And yeah, the swing came from Low Country Originals, and I had the cushion made, and all of the wicker is mainly baskets. And yeah, I used some Jasper indoor-outdoor fabrics on everything, and it's just very durable. So this is another mainly baskets piece. It's a pedestal and urn that I use to put my ferns in. I love woven everything, so I just think wicker on a screen porch is very Southern. We used this antique pine table that was my parents', that my mom was very sweet and gave to me, and it was actually our old breakfast table, but we cut down the legs and made it into a coffee table, and it's been great. It serves its purpose out here. I clearly have a thing for pine, and yeah, I love how it works out here, and we will pull up all the miscellaneous little child's chairs that I buy, and Charlie and his buddies will eat dinner here, and Lily will soon enough. And then I think one thing that was nice when we renovated and built this wood-burning fireplace was we made a little spot for wood so that we don't have to run to the back to get more firewood. So I think it's nice to have the bench seat and then the firewood storage underneath. Okay, and next I'll take you upstairs to see the kids' rooms. Welcome to Lily's nursery. Lily was born last July, so she's about to turn 1. And this is obviously my very girly little haven. It was not a secret that I had always hoped I might have a little girl. It was kind of a joke amongst my friends, but I clearly was excited to design a pink nursery. So I went more peach, but it's a lot of pink and peach. The wallpaper is from Les Indians. It's one of my favorites. I just think it's a nice kind of subtle pattern, but it's really pretty and girly. And then we did a contrast trim to match. I think it's called Spun Sugar. We love playing in here, and now she's crawling, and so she's got lots of room to crawl around, and I may or may not have given her the room with the bigger closets, so that Charlie probably wouldn't appreciate, but it's really sweet. And I picked up this old pine dresser from Patina. It's a local shop here, and the glider was from Charlie's room, and when we updated him to his big boy bed, that moved in here. The quilt was actually quilted by my great-grandmother, which is fun. So I've got a few of them that we pull out. And we added on the window seat, which I love. This used to be our guest room. When we made it the nursery, we built this window seat, which is just really sweet. I always kind of envisioned having one to read books on and just hang out, and Winnie gets another little perch in the house. But this little dormer is, I think, just like the perfect spot for a window seat. And these cute little framed little florals, dried flowers, are her initials, and they came from this company called Matilda Goad. I think they're really, really sweet. And yeah, I mean, lots of pink. But I think it's really sweet in here. And then the canopy is really fun. I like the little touch of cornflower blue in here. And the framed bonnets were also a family piece that used to hang in Charlie's room, but those were also made by my mom's grandmother. So I love just incorporating little family special heirlooms, and I think they're really sweet in here. And obviously have a nod to Winnie. She also gets a special spot, but I love these little pillows that Chelsea Textiles does. They have all different kinds of dogs, and I think this one's called Spaniels with Butterflies. They're super cute. And then I picked up this little bamboo table from a local antique shop. I think it was like $150 or something, and I think it's always nice to have a little spot for special little treasures and trinkets that you get gifted. And then the art's in another piece by Renee Bouchon that I love. I think I call them lilies. I think they're lilies. So obviously I went with a floral theme for Lily. But yeah, I think it all turned out really sweet. I love her. Clearly I'm going with a theme here. But Lily of the Valley, and yeah, I think it's a pretty special room. I hope that she will love it for years to come. When you're designing a nursery, I always kind of start with like one thing that I love and build the room around that. So for me in this room, it was this wallpaper. I had seen a photo of it a long time ago and always kind of hoped that I might be able to use it. And so yeah, I think just like finding one, whether it's a fabric or a piece of art that's maybe special, has some family meaning or something as your starting point to really kind of build off of. And I do think it's really sweet to incorporate things from either your childhood or your partner's, and just having it just be special. And I mean, I found out the gender when I was pregnant. Some people wait, which I don't have enough self-control for, I guess. But I think you can design nurseries and they don't have to be pink or blue. In this case, I did go crazy with the pink, but I think, you can do greens or blues for a girl. And so you don't have to know what you're having in advance. But yeah, I think just incorporating things that are special, and it'll be great. One other little thing I love in here was this in here. Okay, and next I'll take you to my son Charlie's room. This is Charlie's room. We recently moved him to his big boy bed. He was in his crib before, but he has taken very well to the bed, and I selfishly like it because we can read books and snuggle before bedtime, which has been a really sweet little thing we do. His room is another one of my favorites. I love the wallpaper. I don't know how he'll feel about birds and flowers when he's in a couple years, but for now he likes it. But I tried to make it a little more boyish, added these rattan kind of animal heads to the wall, and shockingly they don't scare him. I kind of thought they might, but he likes them. And yeah, the wallpaper is Pierre Frey Bengali. It's a classic. We did a Faramball kind of hay color on the trim, and I think it just turned out really sweet. This is actually a dry sink cabinet that came from Fritz Porter in Charleston. It used to be a sink back in the day, but we made it a changing table, which has been great. He's almost out of diapers, so that is good because he's getting a little big for this. But yeah, it was cool. I was actually shopping with my mom the day we found it, and I was like, oh man, that would make such a cute changing table. And I didn't know I was pregnant yet, but then a couple days later I found out I was, and so I called the shop and bought it because before I didn't want to jinx it. I was like, I really want to buy that, but I should probably wait till I'm pregnant. But anyway, it's been a really cool piece. And love this little bamboo wall shelf. Came from Courtney Barton I think she's in Texas. She gets really cool things that I love looking at her website. And just a perfect little spot for all of Charlie's treasures and things that he's been gifted, and some of my husband Austin's baby silver, and just little, this was a little cup that my mom gave me that she had forever and ever, and that was a little bunny print of my mom's, and just some of Charlie's little bunnies and birthday hats, and a little book we picked up on our baby moon. Oh, and my dad's little teddy bear that he loved. I don't think he actually wanted to part with it, but it's got a special spot here. This cute little chair came from this British artist. Her name's Tess Newell, and she makes the cutest kids chairs. I just ordered one for Lily's birthday, custom hand painted, and you can send her pictures, and she did a little portrait of Winnie on here, which is amazing, and little stars and moons because Charlie loves space. I've had this for a while, but it really worked perfectly in here, and I picked up these little bird cages, another bird thing, at the Nashville Antiques and Garden Show last year. I thought they were cute, but yeah, I mean, he's got a pretty sweet room. I have another little pine bedside table. I love using his little julep cups for flowers, and little spot for his books that he picks out before bed. And if it's after 8, we don't do any more books. That's a new rule. But I think, yeah, his room turned out really sweet. And he's got a great view out the back, big full wall of windows that recently he's been talking about. He wants me to come look at the sunset with him. So he's, yeah, very big into the sun and stars and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I love his room. Okay, so now we'll head back downstairs and go out back to the carriage house. Welcome to my office. This is upstairs in the carriage house that built from scratch last year. Finished it up last summer, basically right before Lily was born. And obviously I love it. It's definitely my little oasis back here, and it's really how I envisioned it, because it was years of pinning home studio, and then it was, yeah, a labor of love coming up with the design and working with the architect and our builder and just kind of bringing it all to life. But we fit a lot back here. It's a 2-car garage, and we were able to achieve a studio space with plenty of storage for our fabrics and wallpaper samples and all the things, and also we're able to get a separate guest bedroom and bathroom. So I feel like we really crammed a lot in a small space. It's been great to have this space to bring clients to, and just to have a little separation from my house. It used to be upstairs, which is now a playroom, but when we knew we were gonna have a second, it was a little extra kind of fire under us to get going with this, so we could have a true guest room and an office space for me. And the designers I've worked for in the past, I worked out at both of their houses, and I love that about this business. I think it's obviously what better place to work on interior design than out of your own home. So something I really cared a lot about was getting lots of natural light, which in this business is important to really see the colors of the fabrics and paints, everything you're working on. So we did a lot of windows in front and the back. I'd always kind of envisioned this white planking, white floor, just very calm, and a neutral backdrop for all of the projects I'm working on. I love Gil Schafer's work. This is one of his books that I think this image was like kind of my starting point. It's on the cover, but I loved the white painted floors and the planked walls and these Indian chic roll-up shades. So really everything about this kind of just was what I was hoping to get out of this space. And I think I put my kind of spin on it, but I love how it all turned out. And loved the railing that we designed, and this little lantern that's hanging. Have lots of maximized storage for all the fabrics, which I could have so much more, but have to have my little design center here in Nashville. I used to be spoiled living in Atlanta, where ADAC was, where all the showrooms are. So here I order my samples, and they send them to me, and I try to keep them organized, sometimes with help. But I have them sorted by, well, kind of a couple ways that probably mostly make sense to me and no one else, but by vendor. So I know if I'm thinking of a certain fabric, I always think of that vendor and that kind of style. But then I have a couple baskets that are all stripes and all checks and plaids. There's so many fabrics and beautiful things out there that this is just a fraction of it, what I can really hold here. But so I try to be somewhat selective about what I keep and order. But I tried to maximize storage with, really thinking through how to hold all of this. So hanging samples for one of the lines I order from, made sure to measure them and the hanger before we had the cabinet built, which is great. And little pull-out drawers for things like trims and, there's just so many things that it's nice to have on hand. Like as I squeeze through here, tile and, when you're doing a presentation, it's really helpful to have. And I always envisioned a big work table in the center, which it's funny, I did all these desks and I literally sit there every time. I don't know why, I just picked it, but I love sitting here and spreading out. And until last night late, there were fabrics all over the place in here. So this was a good excuse to get it cleaned up. Little piles that make sense to me. But yeah, it's wonderful to use the space to create and have meetings with clients. I love these stools, they're super comfortable. I did a Samsung frame TV that is great to pull up my presentations and AutoCAD drawings, and I can zoom in and pull up links off Pinterest, and just really helps present my ideas. And then it's great because it looks like art and you're not just walking up to a black TV screen. And over here is always, I'm doing a lot of mood boards and presentation boards. This is a project I'm working on right now that she is a big fan of pinks and greens, and very excited about what we're coming up with. But yeah, client baskets, and I love this easel for putting my boards on when I present. And this fun painting came from another artist in the UK, Rosie Harbottle, that I saw and I loved it and treated myself to it when I had a good month of work. This massive hanging shade also came from Europe, from Atelier Vime, and it was kind of in a probably expensive basket, and by probably it was, because it had to be crated and sent from overseas, but it's really fun, and I think it just warms it up in here, and I love it. It didn't even come wired, actually, so I just basically got this big shade. So I got that cord from Home Depot, and our builder was not thrilled with me, but I think it turned out really cool. I got into design, you could say I got into it young because my mom was an interior designer. She worked for a firm in Georgetown. I grew up outside DC in Arlington. And she would hand draft for hours in the basement, and she had a little drafting table, and then I had this little miniature one next to hers, and I would pretend to do room layouts and floor plans and design our house while she was working. And so I always had this love for it, and for whatever reason, when I went to Georgia, I thought I wanted to be a news anchor, and went to school for broadcast news and realized very quickly that I was not cut out for it. And so I thought about switching majors, decided to just graduate out of state 4 years, not do that to my dad. But then when I moved to Atlanta, I was very fortunate to meet Carter Kay, who is a very talented designer, and she sort of took me under her wing and really mentored me. And I lived a couple blocks from ADAC and was just immersed in the design world and learned so much from her. I took some classes at SCAD while I worked for her, And then when I moved to Nashville, I worked for Rachel Haverson, who's incredibly talented, and I worked there for a couple years. And then after I had Charlie, I decided it was time to go off on my own, and I launched Catherine Branstetter Interiors, and I've been in business for about 3 years now. I was really fortunate to work under some great designers, and you know, it's been really fun, you know, working for myself now and really being the one coming up with the schemes, and also seeing my vision come to life has just been really cool.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.